You only get one chance to make your first impression, and that's what we're talking about. There was somebody that was on the other night, and he was calling CQ, and let me get down here on a knee here.
Don't you want me to pull you a chair?
No, this is fine. Normally you'd think CQ.
Do you mind if we shut the door? We have a musical happening tonight, and it'll probably be better for you all.
Thank you. This guy was sending CQ like this. But the dips weren't quite as short as that. It was very sing-songy. You could almost see him sitting in a playground swing, going back and forth. But he was sending a little bit faster than that. And all of a sudden, then you start to try to copy it. And so now he's going to send, like at the end of a transmission, he might send an AR, which normally would sound like, he would send it. Okay, did he send an AR? Or did he send an IT or an ETN? You don't really know because it's not right there. It's not crisp. And that's what we're trying to talk about tonight, is making things crisp so that you can actually see and hear and feel how these waveforms are shaped. And I have an email in here. I don't know if I can pull it up. Give me just, no, I'm not going to do it. On the length of the characters, a dit is 1 unit of time. The space between the elements, say between a C, between a DAW and a dit for, let's say, N, the time between the DAW and the dit is 1 element of time, the length of a dit. And the length of a DAW is the length of 3 dits. And between words, it's 7 dits. So now that we have this thing broken out into time, when you start practicing, if we can look at it visually, because it'd be pretty hard to time it audibly, but if we can look at it visually, we can then see whether or not we're getting our character shaped right. I've been sending CW for, let's say, a lot of years. And I thought I was doing it right until I got onto this program and I found that when I was sending, if I was sending a C, da, dit, da, dit, let's see, da, 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 da. I think when I had the da, like on an L, or let's say on a Y, da, 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 the last da was longer than the other da's. So it would be da, 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 da. I never knew that. And yet when I looked at it on the screen, I could see that, in fact, that's exactly what was happening. So,
Railway Morse?
Pardon me?
Railway Morse? Didn't they have a long and a short?
They did. And that is the American Morse, had longs and shorts. And that's why the vibraplex bug that you have, one side is dits, and the other side you have to generate the DAW, whether it's a short DAW or a long DAW. And the reason you do that is because that was the way that they sent it. They didn't have a standardized length of a DAW, because they did have the standardized length of the dit. So that's why they designed that first key that had an adjustable length that you could control it. If you were going to send an O, you'd send the long one. You were going to send a T, it would be a short one. And so that's why you had to generate your own DAWs on there. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at this program. It's called Audacity, and it is a free program. You just download it off the web. It's actually used for audio. You might, if you play the guitar and the drum and you play the trumpet.
Out.
Oh, we don't want to do that. What do we want to do here? Let's see, let's try that. There we go, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
there
it's
you go.
back.
Thanks. So you play the drums and the trumpet and the flute all yourself. So you can get on Audacity, you can play one tune in one track, and then you can come back and play that track back and play the second track and the third track. That's kind of what this is for. What we're going to do is just use the audio part and look at the the waveforms and then measure the distance between the waveforms, and we'll see how well we can send. Now, if you look at the top, you look up here, and you can see, I can't look at the screen here because this is different. But here we have, this is the record, right there is the record button, the stop button, the play button, the pause button, just about like any other kind of a electronic recording device. So if we want to record this thing, we'll put this on here. Okay. Now, don't do any talking. Okay. Now we'll stop this, and then we can get this up here where we can look at it. Let's see here. Well, what I want to do, I'm not sure I know how to do it. What I wanted to do was get back and look at this over. Oh, let's see here. Wait a minute. If I go back this way. Okay, there's me jabbering. There we're starting out. Now, what you do is you get some kind of a measuring device, and you measure on your screen or on this screen up here the distance between this point and this point, which should be 3 dits. The distance here is a dit. You look at the spacing in between. Remember what I told you earlier? Can you see anything unusual?
Your last dial looks stretched.
The last dial looks a little bit stretched, doesn't it? Well, I haven't practiced enough.
I got a question here. Between characters, what's the length, the distance between characters?
Between characters, 3.
3? So the space between characters is as long as a DAW then?
Yes.
Okay.
And that should be, that distance right here, looks about the same as the width of that, without actually getting some micrometers out there checking it. But you can see that one is still a little bit longer. Now, our friend that I was listening to the other night, he was playing a little different tune. Let's see here. We can make this work.
Switch on the record again.
Yeah. So what I want to do, okay, first of all, I got to find the mouse. Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay, and then we hit a delete here. And then we're back there. And then we'll stop it.
Again?
Okay, and then we'll bring this back up here. Now you can see that is not very well timed. And when you're listening to it, you get down into a rhythm and you're starting to copy this rhythm, and then all of a sudden you go to some other station and this guy doesn't have the same timing down there. You're trying to apply different criteria to the same tones, and to the same interpretation or decryption of the sounds that you're hearing, and it doesn't work out. It's very difficult. And so when you change from one person to another, and they're not the same timing, that they're not the same crispness, it makes it difficult to copy. And so my goal here tonight is to encourage you to visually look, not only listen, but visually look at what your code sounds like, and to try to improve it. Get that last DAW a little bit shorter. I don't know. I should have known how to do that, but anyway, he's got it pretty long there.
So I have a question.
Yes.
In fair disclosure, I'm one of these horrible no-code hams.
Okay.
I have purchased an Iambic key and have
Okay.
committed to learn.
Why Iambic?
What's that?
Why did you purchase an Iambic?
Actually, because it came as part of an estate sale that I purchased in bulk.
Okay, fine.
They
That's
had an
okay.
amplifier in there I really wanted. And it was
Okay.
broken, so I got a good
Okay.
price on it, but I fixed it. And my question was, is the timing an easier thing to learn for a novice than on an iambic key as opposed to a straight key?
Okay, I'm going to say that an iambic key is a solution for which there was never a problem.
Very good.
That's my interpretation of an iambic key. What do you think, Terry? Are you an iambic keyer?
I'm a believer. I like it. I like the sound of it. I think the code it overcomes many sins of CW operators, and it makes code readable. I mean, I think because it fills the spaces, and you don't have to have the perfect timing. It's done for you. And
Well,
so-
but, okay, but if you're using electronic keyer though, it
That's
does
right.
that.
That's what I'm saying, you know, with the iambic keyer, you need to have a electronic keyer to go with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And
But-
so most radios now come with that.
Right, and like I just
Electronic
plugs into the
key
back of
built
my
in,
Icon and
and
I'm
it's-
done, you know?
Okay, well, let's not mix up iambic keying and electronic keying. Iambic keying, you have two paddles.
Right.
Right.
And you hold one paddle over and it gives you the
Dits.
dits, and you hold the other paddle over and it gives you the daws.
Correct.
But when you squeeze the two paddles
It goes
together,
da, 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 da.
or it either goes da 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 da, or it goes da 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 da,
Depending on which.
depending on which one you hit first. I've never been able to figure out how anybody ever thought that was a good thing. I could not figure it. But you think it's good, Terry?
The only reason I did it is because I learned quickly to use a bug. And I always thought the bug sounded, I mean, it was not as, I could not master the bug well enough, and I felt much more comfortable with an iambic keyer and an electronic keyer in the radio, and I think 95% maybe of the CW that you hear on the air is electronic keyer.
Oh, absolutely. I don't have a problem with the
I
electronic.
seldom hear hand-fisted CW anymore.
It's, yes, yeah. I don't have a problem with the electronics. I mean, that isn't what I'm challenging, if that's the right word. I don't see how you having those two paddles where it starts with a dit and it goes and alternates one to the other. John?
Well, to make things even more complicated,
Oh, thanks,
there's an
John.
iambic A and an iambic B.
Oh, yeah, one where
And
it's
one of them adds a dit or a dot or at the end after you quit.
Yes.
It goes ahead and adds another
And
dit.
that's whatever the alternative was that you just released on.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna send it, we have two paddles, and this is an iambic keyer right here.
Right. I think that's like identical to the one that I have.
Okay, so we have this here, and so you're going to squeeze this, and then it starts to send, and you squeeze this at the same time. So it goes da 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 da, and then you release it, and it goes dit.
Mm-hmm.
One more after you finally let go of it. That's the iambic B, I think it is.
Correct.
And the iambic A is you push this down, did da 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 da, and that stops as soon as you let go of it. Well, actually, it completes. So in the middle of this last da, you release it. It will complete the da to the proper length.
So what my takeaway from this is that yes, it does help with timing, but it's also kind of a crutch. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
I don't know that it's a crutch. I think it's just a different way.
Okay.
I don't know that. I think you need the same amount of practice, the same amount of dexterity to make it work. The only thing it does is somebody said it saved you time. I mean, it saved you energy because instead of moving the key back and forth, say for instance you're going to send a C, you would press this first, and then you would squeeze these two together. Da, dit, da, dit. So you only had to move da, dit, instead of da, dit, da, dit. I mean, that's a lot of work that we're saving. And now, then you have to look at it and say, all right, how many characters lend themselves to alternate? Well, we know that A isn't, B isn't, C is a good one, D, no, D, E, F. You could do it with an F, did, da, dit, F, H, I, J. So there are very few letters that even lend themselves to be self-completing when you squeeze them together. That's my thoughts on it. And
So it seems to me one of the other shortcomings too then would be that you have to set the rate in the key and in the electronic keyer, whereas with the, I guess it's called a straight key or
oh yeah, straight key, yes.
then you're essentially, so if you're switching from say somebody who's doing 5 words a minute and you can do 20 words a minute, and you switch to somebody
Right.
who's faster,
Right.
you don't have, you can do that without
Just
changing
change the key. And that's why I have this key, because this is, I normally would send with the paddles here, but not using the iambic, but just using them as a regular electronic keyer. And then if you get somebody that's kind of slow, I can jump over to this key and I can slow it down. I don't have to go in here and change it on, change the speed and the electronic speed in there. So that would be one of the benefits of having the two keys side by side would be that you can do that. And a lot of times in contests and stuff, you find people that are coming in and they want to contest and so on, and they can then just slow down. You can just go and grab this key and accommodate them. And that's really, what I think is good practice, is being able to accommodate the person. When they send to you slow, that means that they'd like to hear it back slow, not coming back at screeching 30 words a minute. And then of course, they're not part of the fun of it anymore. You're being overwhelmed. So that's why it's kind of nice to slow down.
And
Okay.
what about somebody like that? What do you send to them?
Well, I try to send back as clear and as crisp, give a good first impression, and just hope that they hear it that way.
Couldn't you send QLF question mark?
Yeah, QLF question mark, right, I like that one. If you remember stories during the war, they had counterintelligence effort. They would track, the enemy would track our CW operators by their fist. Each fist is almost as unique as a fingerprint. And so when the units would move, they have this telegrapher, he's operating here, and his unit moves out over here. Then they can track this fist over here. What they ended up doing was, this unit was, well, the counterintelligence part, this unit was sending here, and they moved the unit, they left the telegrapher here. They moved his unit over there, so then the enemy is listening, so oh yeah, look, they moved units, but this guy's still here. So there's a lot of information that can be gathered from a person's fist. It's very unique. It's kind of like tracking submarines with sonar, where they can listen to the bearings and put a number on it. Yes, oh, look at that, we lost the signal here. Let's see, we're back on. No signal.
It's coming back.
Okay, there we go. Okay, now let's look at an electronic here in the short time that we have left.
Sorry, I had you.
Okay, what is that? No, we gotta go this way. We go this way. There we go. Okay, and then we'll plug this guy in here, and this might answer your question on. All right, let's slow that down a little bit. Well, what's going on here?
You don't have the recording set.
That's probably what's going on. I lost the cursor. All right, so let's hit that. Let's hit this. And then let's go back up here. And let's try this. So you can see one of the advantages of an electronic keyer, whoops, running away here, is the fact that it makes, let's see, how did I do this before?
Click on the arrow up.
Oh yeah, right, thank you. All right, lost the cursor now. Oh, there it is. Where is it? Can't even, I don't have a cursor anymore.
There's the side.
Where is it?
It's hiding.
Oh, yeah.
Just sweep it around a little bit.
There it is.
You just
Oh, to the right.
There it is.
Ah, up the left, yeah.
There we go. Now you can see how nice and sharp and crisp these characters are when they're formed with the electronic keyer. They are very sharp. And when you go between one and another, let's see, I don't know if I can do this quickly or not. But let's try this. Okay. Oh, we're playing it back. Hold on a minute. Let's go there. Stop. Okay, what I want to do is, this is a little awkward, where I can't look at the other screen.
Click on the top left of the audio track, there's a little X, and you can click it and the whole thing will go away.
Okay. Let's see if we
On
can,
the audio track box, there's
see if
a
we
little,
can find the cursor here. There's the cursor. Okay, well, we're not gonna have enough time, but what I wanted to do was to hit a dit and a dah. Dit, dah, dit, dah, dit, dah, kind of like we would with the iambic keyer. And you can see, if we stop, take our finger off of the paddle, even before the character is finished. Like if you did it with a straight key, you take your hand off the key and of course it's gonna stop sending. If you do it with the electronic keyer, take your finger off of the paddle, it will continue to form the proper length character element
Okay.
before it stops.
I'm at the bottom, at the left box, but it doesn't seem to be clearing.
yeah, and it's, you keep going left where it says audio track, and then,
Oh yeah, right
and then
there.
there's an X there.
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps picking up that other. Ah. There we go. There we go. There we go. Come on. Come on, go away.
That did
There
it.
we go. All right. So now let's go back up here. This is gonna, might be hard to demonstrate. Let's see if it starts here. I'm gonna hit this just as fast as I can, left and right. So I just barely touched the dah part of it, and you can see that it gives us a completely formed character.
Why is that other stuff here appearing after that?
Voices,
So where's that coming from?
Him.
Me?
Yeah, but I mean, what's picking it up?
there's a
Oh, there's
microphone.
a microphone right here.
Oh.
Mic in the computer.
It's not dead in this. Mic though.
Yeah.
It's not connected to the
So you can see,
audio input of the computer.
you can see that it does in fact
Metric CW.
complete, yeah, it does in fact complete that character to the proper length. So one of the advantages of electronic keyer is it does complete it. But when I taught my kids to drive, I said, you're not driving an automatic car until you learn how to do the stick shift business. And so I said, of course I didn't get a chance to put the pressure on them, saying you're not gonna use an electronic keyer until you learn a straight key. They weren't interested in that. But if they were, and I got a grandson I'm working on, he's gonna learn a straight key first, just to learn how to make it work, the basics of it, and then learn the automatic keyer. And so, having said this about that, thank you very much for your attendance tonight. I'm glad that you were able to get through the parking lot and get over here. And we're now gonna move into the other hall, the lecture hall, and continue our meeting there. Thank you.